Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 7 of the Associated Wrestling Press's College Wrestling Review. And we welcome back Johnny Owenowski. Johnny, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Not a problem. Our topic of discussion today is going to be the Cliff Keen Las Vegas Invitational. And boy, have we had some exciting matches. We're going to have Johnny going over the first 5 weight classes. So let's just get right into the topic of discussion for today. 125 pounds that we're starting. They just wrestled the quarters, so we're going to try and get this to you before the semifinals happen on Saturday morning. So we had Nishan Garrett with the fall in 6:48. I think this is wrong. I think he had the tech fall. But either way, it was with almost 7 minutes left. He'll wrestle Josh Martinez in the semifinals. How do you see this one going? You got Nishan Garrett or Josh Martinez? I think I know where you're going.
I got Garrett. He's been dominant all year. I don't know if I think he may have had 2 13 to 14 point matches, but basically besides that, everything's been bonus point. He's been running through this tournament. He's got, I don't know, what'd you say? He's got a tech fall and a fall. He's got a 15-2 win. He'll be facing Martinez in the semifinals. I think Martinez is he's always ranked higher than I think he always wrestles, but he's a seasoned wrestler. He beat Tolbert in the quarterfinals. Tolbert had a nice run. He beat Terrell, and Terrell actually lost to Garrett last year, 1-0 in the EIWA. So I don't know if it's going to be a very good one, but Martinez will definitely put up a fight.
All right, let's move on to the bottom half. That Nishan Garrett and Martinez they were on the top half. The bottom half, Dylan Peters, very exciting. And we were talking earlier, and you called it a cow catcher.
Yeah, Dylan Peters. I mean, he's so strong. He's a little pit bull. I mean, the kid's probably 5'5" and just stacked. I mean, he's got huge arms, and you shoot, and you don't look to finish, he will finish you.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened with Tomasello. Tomasello's up 5-4. Dylan Peters ends up catching him in the cow catcher, sticking him. So that's how he made it to the semifinals. He'll be taking on Joey Dance. I think this is going to be a great match. I think they're both little pit bulls, like you said earlier. Dylan Peters is a pit bull. So is Joey Dance. So who do you have in this one? You got Joey Dance, you going Dylan Peters?
Well, I actually had Tomasello making it all the way to the finals in this one. I didn't expect
As did a lot of people, yeah.
I didn't expect him to get pinned. Although I thought if there were any outcome other than a Tomasello win, it would definitely be a Peters pin. But I got Dance in this one. If it was Tomasello Dance, I would go Tomasello on a rematch. But I got Dance. I don't think he stops wrestling, and I don't think he's not the straight-on type of wrestler that Tomasello is. Tomasello is not much of a sweep, single, angle type wrestler. He's going to either shoot his high crotch or he'll fake his high crotch, pull you down, and spin behind you. That's his style of wrestling. Joey Dance is low singles, angles, blow through you type wrestling. And I don't think Dylan Peters will be able to stop it. So I definitely got Dance.
Okay, nice. And that rematch you were talking about was the Virginia Tech versus Ohio State duel where Joey Dance hit that suck back and ended up getting the 2 count and beating Tomasello. So that was 25. Let's move on to 33. 33, we got Chris Dardanes versus DiCamillo. DiCamillo ended up knocking off returning All-American and Earl Hall. Chris Dardanes dropping down a weight class. You know what I'm anxious to see is this is his first 2-day weigh-in of the year, so look out for that. How do you have this one going? You think DiCamillo's win over Earl Hall was that big of a deal, or just, I mean, Earl Hall has lost a few matches now this season.
I don't see any chance for DiCamillo. I think Earl Hall is one of the hottest, coldest wrestlers you'll see in the country. I think you look at his record last year, he might have had between 10 and 12 losses. But that's just the type of wrestler Earl Hall is. DiCamillo is good. He's a control wrestler. But I think the Dardanes brothers dropping down a weight class is what they both needed for each other. And
I don't
I
even
think they're
think for each other. I think for the team too. I think Minnesota needed it as a team more than they needed. You know what I mean?
yeah, I think they could have both stayed at 41 and 49 and been fine. I don't think Short is impressing anyone. I don't even know if he might have won one match at this tournament. But I think they could have stayed at 41 and 49 and been fine. I mean, they both walked into the national tournament seeded. But the type of wrestlers they were experiencing a little bit of strength differentiation from the 41 to 49 to 33-41 weight class. And um, I think Chris is on pace. I think he's the only guy in the country that could be shot. That's my honest opinion.
All right. So you got Dardanes on the top half. We're moving to the bottom half. Rossi Bruno is going to take on Daniel DeShazer. And if you were watching Flow Wrestling, they had Johnny DeJulius winning this match on the scoreboard by a score of 3-1. It actually was DeShazer that ended up winning the match. So if you were watching Flow, you got a little fake out there. So you got DeShazer and Rossi Bruno. I liked how DeShazer wrestled. He's short, stocky, he's condensed, he knows what he wants to do. He looks just like one big muscle. So I'm going with DeShazer here. Rossi Bruno, he's hot, he's cold. Depending on what he's going to do, now he can wrestle on top, he can wrestle on bottom. I just think he needs to work on his shots, on his feet, if he's going to want to be competitive at this weight. Who do you got here for the bottom half, DeShazer or Bruno?
I got DeShazer. He's a Division II national champion. Rossi Bruno's made major strides. He's come along a lot. Watched him a lot as a true freshman. He was real good in high school, but he took that leap, and that leap wasn't so nice to him. And I don't see him being able to stop the power that DeShazer's going to bring. He's an athlete. Rossi Bruno is good. He's that Greco wrestler that comes from Brandon, but I got DeShazer.
All right.
Pulling this one out, and I think it's going to be a mess for him when we get to the finals with him and Dardanes.
Okay, cool. So let's move on to 141. We got the three-time defending NCAA champion Logan Stiebert heading on to the semifinals. He'll take on Anthony Ashnault. Do we have to talk about this? You going Stiebert?
Yeah, I'm going Stiebert, but after watching Ashnault, he's the real deal. He's got real good technique. He's crisp. He's clean. He finishes with his shots. I thought he would struggle a little bit, but that kid wants to win. I think it's going to be a closer match than people think. I really, really like Ashnault to do well this year. I don't know how well, but I really like him, and I think this is going to be a better match than people put out to be.
And he had a great match with Spizak in the quarterfinals. But
Spizak's a pain in the butt to wrestle. He's one of them PA wrestlers. He's good on top. He can ride you. You shoot on him, he's gonna give you a 30 to 45-second scramble, and he's done well at big tournaments before. That's a good win for Ashnault. Definitely is.
Yeah, so that was the top half. We're moving down to the bottom half. So we talked about Chris Dardanes at 133. We're going to talk about Nick Dardanes, his brother, at 141. He'll take on Devin Carter. Devin Carter is the returning NCAA runner-up. So for this match, are you going with if you had Logan Stiebert on the top half and you have Devin Carter on the bottom, you looking for a NCAA Finals rematch?
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about this match.
You think there's that much of a difference between Dardanes and Carter?
I think they're the same wrestlers. The biggest problem for Dardanes, because the difference is Devin Carter can get out, and the Dardanes have struggled from day one. 5 years in, they still struggle from the bottom. And I think they're the same wrestler. I think Devin Carter, the moves and the type of wrestler he is, he will blow through Dardanes. Dardanes has had a tough match in the quarterfinals the second round against Mitch Bankston, which might be one of the better wins of the tournament because Mark Gray lost first round
Yeah, that
to
is true.
George Fisher. So that was a big match, and I think Devin Carter is the second best kid in the country. I don't think there's any questions. Devin Carter is the second best kid in the country. The worst thing is we know who the first one is.
Right. Bad for him. All right. Let's move on to 149. Chris Villalonga, great win in the quarterfinals. Ends up heading to the semifinals. Got a major decision. He'll take on Gabe Moreno. Gabe Moreno, and if you didn't see this match, I suggest you go back and you watch it. Questionable here or there. Well, who knows? So I'll give you the breakdown of what happened for the Gabe Moreno versus Ken Theobald match. Theobald's up by 1. Moreno gets the reversal, and so he ends up going up 8-7. Theobald has exactly 1 minute of riding time. They start arguing it. They try and say he only had 59 seconds. He doesn't. So it heads into overtime. Theobald hits a swing single in the overtime match, and Moreno hits kind of like a roll through with the swing single. Theobald got lazy, didn't finish it as quick as he needed to, and ended up getting put to his back. So that was that. So Moreno moves on to the semifinals to take on Villalonga. I'm going to go Villalonga in this. Who do you got?
I got Villalonga all the way. The Moreno brothers, they're wrestlers. They are the example. They are hardworking, put your nose to the grind type wrestlers. They don't do anything special, either one of them. They just wrestle hard. And Moreno's made it far. I mean, this was one of the weaker weight classes, obviously, the whole tournament. I think Villalonga is going to pull this one out. I don't think there's any questions about it. I like Moreno putting up a good fight because that's what he does, but I got Villalonga all the way.
All right. And let's move down to the bottom half. So you got Villalonga on the top half and Cody Rigarello. Is this kid used to give Franklin Gomez fits? What was his Lou Rigarello?
Yeah,
is this his brother?
His brother was the one that got supplayed.
Yes, by Reese Humphrey.
Yeah.
Okay. And he'll take on. That's bad. That's going to be the one thing that he's known for is that super throw. Well, let's just get your take. Well, was it illegal or what?
It wasn't legal.
All right. So they,
his head went over his feet went over his head.
All right.
I was worried if he was alive. If it was legal.
Oh man,
that was a bad one.
I'm gonna have to cut this part out. He'll take on Alex Pantelio. Is that it?
Alec Pantelio.
Alec. Yeah, he's had a pretty good tournament.
Yeah, he has. Not sure if it's his dad or his uncle, but his dad or his uncle. I forgot which one is an NCAA runner-up.
Yeah, I was talking to. Yes.
He's got family that lives in Virginia that went to Colonial Forge. So.
Oh my gosh! No way! I was wondering about that.
Mm-hmm.
That kid was a state champion.
I'm not sure if he was a state champion or not, but...
Oh, well, I wrestled him at the Beach Nationals, and he tossed me on my head, and I got up, and I had sand in every part of my face. Jay Pantelio. That was his name. Okay. All right, so anyways, we got completely off topic. Who do you got in this one? Pantelio or Rigarello?
I'll tell you what. When you're keeping up with the flow of wrestling and you're doing the arena and you're watching the arena and seeing what matches are what, 2 matches that caught your eye were Alec Pantelio and Sal Mastriani, and the matches that Rigarello were wrestling. He wrestled Justin Arthur in the second round, and Justin Arthur's a transfer from Clarion that was supposed to make some noise this year. They were thinking he'd get to Nebraska and he'd be an All-American, and tell you what, Rigarello laid it on him. That kid can wrestle. He's a good rider. He's long. He's lean. He's a pain in the butt to wrestle. And he lost to Drake Hotteshell not too long ago, 6-2. I I still got Pantaleo though, because I
All
watched
right.
that kid wrestle. He made Mastriani look like a little kid. He blew through him, and there were multiple times where he could have even scored more points. But this kid's legit. This kid's for real. I think Sean Bourmet is going to do something with this kid. He's good.
Okay. Let's let's move to 157. The most dangerous man in all of wrestling. That's Division One wrestling. We got Dylan Ness. He's on the top half, number 1 seed. Ends up making it to the semifinals, and Russell Parsons beats Brian Murphy, which was crazy because Murphy was winning with 12 seconds left, and I just kept saying, "Come on, Murphy, pull it out, pull it out." Parsons gets in on swing single and ends up finishing it with 12 seconds left. I'm guessing you're going Dylan Ness.
I don't know if anyone would go anything different.
That's what I'm saying. And then,
Dylan Ness is, if you've watched him wrestle, Minnesota exposes himself all the time. They want to know where they're at every year at the beginning of the year. They don't want to sit back and um, shy away from the competition. They just wrestled Oklahoma State. They've wrestled North Dakota State. They send their kids. They want to see who wants to win. And Minnesota, they're going to do big things this year. You watch Dylan Ness, that's why. This kid is on a mission. Uh, Pardon my French, but he is pissed off this year. He wants to wrestle.
yeah,
And if you've watched over there, he goes for those big moves. He puts himself in danger. I think he finally realized he's got the abilities and he's got the potential. And I got that kid being already. I'll put it on. Mark my word, this kid's going to be a national finalist. He's long, he's lean, he's strong, he's technical, and he's funky. He's got everything.
right.
Uh, I got him in the finals.
All right, let's move down to the bottom half. Parati versus James Green. I'm guessing you're going James Green.
Yeah,
I'm going James Green.
I
So we'll
don't
have James Green versus Dylan Ness in the finals.
definitely. I don't think there's
That,
any questions about it.
all
Pradi's
right.
not even the starter for Rutgers, and he's in the semifinals. They had their All American for the first time in years. Last year is out at 57, and I don't think it mattered anyways because I think James Green and Dylan Ness, maybe Ian Miller, but we'll see how he comes back from that head injury. But I got James Green and Dylan Ness cream of the crop this year. We'll see what happens.
All right. Well, that's been it for your time, Johnny. JJ Johnson's up next with the second half. Thanks for joining us, Johnny.
Yeah, I really appreciate you having me, and you got some work to do, JJ.
And here we are picking up at 165 pounds, and we welcome back. I'm trying to figure if we should welcome you back, or you're just here so much that you don't even need a welcome. But we'll welcome JJ Johnson back to the show. So let's start with the 165-pound weight class. So for the semifinals at 165, it'll be Sulzer versus Cooper Moore on one side and Taylor Walsh and Mike Moreno on the other. Nick Sulzer looked absolutely dominant. He's looked dominant the entire tournament, and he'll wrestle Cooper Moore, who won by injury default. Taylor Massa, they got in a scramble. Cooper Moore puts Taylor Massa to his back, and then what happened after that?
So I didn't actually see it. What I had heard is they bumped heads at the end of the match with 7 seconds left. I think Moore came in, caught him in the head, and Massa went down, wasn't able to get up. They would have gone into overtime. So that kind of hurts. Who knows how that would have turned out. But like you said, he got put to his back, and those NIU guys are real dangerous, or UNI guys are real dangerous like that. Cooper Moore Really tough there. He was tough at this tournament last year. I think he ended up taking fourth, but he was pinning guys all along the way too. So, yeah, he's got a big matchup with Sulzer.
Yeah. And
Not
those
bad.
guys smell blood in the water. If they get you on their back, it's ridiculous. Moving on to Taylor Walsh and Mike Moreno. Taylor Walsh is, I heard somebody say earlier today, the second most dangerous guy in all of college wrestling. I would agree. I mean, he's just, you never know when there's going to be a big throw. There wasn't too much to this match. Has that little slide by that he does, so he hit that a couple times. But he'll wrestle Mike Moreno. How do you see this one going?
With Taylor Walsh, it's hard to say. I don't know. Moreno's obviously really tough, but Walsh, he could end it at any time. And you always think that guys are going to be able to game plan against it and all his bag of tricks, but somehow he always, or most of the time, ends up figuring it out. So it should be an exciting match. I think a lot of points will be scored. If I had to pick one, I'd probably pick Moreno. I think he's just more solid. He gets to his positions and takes it.
Definitely agree with that. All right, well, let's move on to 174 pounds. Pretty interesting match between Logan Storley and Devontae Mahomes. It screws me up every time I see his name now. On episode 1, I kept calling him Austin Mahomes, who's like a teenage pop star, so we'll forget about that. So this match goes into overtime, and funniest part about this, were you able to see this?
Yep, I watched it.
All right, so I have my FaceTime set up to my computer, so they go into overtime, and Storley shoots in and is about to get the takedown, and my brother calls me, so I don't get to see the end of the match, and I was just freaking out. I'm trying to click the close button so I can see the end of the match, but it comes back, and Storley's getting his hand raised, so what did he take him down with?
Single.
Okay.
I think he got to a leg, and Mahomes tried to kick out, caught the other ankle. But he got to him a few times. Mahomes really tough to finish on, or he's tough to get to. And then in the matches I've seen this year, guys, even if they get to his leg, he's getting out of it real quick. Stays in really good position. Wrestles hard pace, and he's not scoring a lot of points, but he's tough to score on. Right. So I think as they develop him to more attacks on his feet, and he puts that together with his defense, he's going to be a force. And he's off to a great start already. So. Yeah,
and I think they hit him earlier in the match with stalling. I think it was the second period, so I was expecting him to hit him again because it was 1-1, and Storley just kept attacking, and then there was 10 seconds left in the match, and you knew the ref wasn't going to step in. So Storley moves on to the semifinals, and he'll wrestle Blaze Butler. That's on one side, and Tanner Weatherman and Robert Kokesh will wrestle in the other semifinals. Tanner Weatherman beat Zach Epperly. And you actually saw this. I was switching back and forth to all different matches, so excuse me for not being able to see it. But if you could walk us through what happened with Tanner Weatherman and Zach Epperly at the end. I heard it was pretty crazy.
So Weatherman's up 3-2. They get a restart on the line, and Epperly fires off a low single, comes up, catches the other leg, puts him to his butt. They give the 2, gets pumped, gets to his feet, and Weatherman's like, no, he jumped the gun. So the other ref comes over and said he must have said he jumped the gun because they took it away. Like the ref, if I'm blowing the whistle, I know if he jumped or not. I'm 6 inches away from them. I just don't know how they missed that. If it's a caution, call it right away. Let them get a restart. They ended up re-wrestling the 7 seconds, but I mean at that point, I don't know.
Yeah, why didn't they stop it? Why didn't they jump in?
They finished the 7, and then he took it away, caution, then re-wrestled it.
Wow.
So
that's horrible.
That's tough.
But he got pumped up when he won.
Yeah, naturally.
Oh.
Yeah.
I hate to laugh. I'm sorry, but that's classic.
That's crazy. It's not like he was doing backflips, but you know.
All right, so Tanner Weatherman ends up getting the win, and he'll wrestle Kokesh in the semifinals. How do you see that one going for this weight class? So we got Logan Storley and Blaze Butler, and then Weatherman and Kokesh.
So I think there'll be more action in Storley Butler. I think those guys score a lot more points. And Butler is yet to lose this year also. Weatherman's the only guy with a loss. He lost to Mike Evans 7-4. And I mean, Evans is on those guys' level, so it should be I really see Storley, Kokish, Brown, and Evans as like the same person. So
Right.
Weatherman 7-4 Evans. I think it'll be a couple point match with Kokish. Maybe Kokish can extend that lead a little bit. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
All right. Well, let's jump on to 184, and this is an exciting one. Gabe Dean and Brett Farr. That one. So let's take us through that one. Double overtime.
First
Gabe Dean's end up squeaking out the win, but
yeah. So sudden victory. Gabe gets to a single, gets his head across, puts him on his butt. He's going to Turk. He got to a cutback, went to Turk, and Farr comes through, takes the leg over. He starts coming up, and Gabe reaches back to try to split the legs, hold him, work his leg back, and get two. In there, Farr gets to Dean's leg and recovers the position, and Gabe sits the corner, comes out, he's on top, but Farr elevates the leg and puts him to his hip. So Gabe is kind of underneath, draped over top, trying to get a leg on top, but Farr is elevating. So he's sitting him to his, elevating and putting him to his back a little bit. And in this, where no one has control, and if anything, Farr might be closer to scoring, they give Gabe two in the match. And again, the refs confer, and they gave no takedown. And then they went a double OT, and Gabe ended up winning there also. But I'm not going to say Farr would have scored there, but he was certainly in a better position to score. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought Gabe had it originally because of no reaction time. I thought when he sat the corner and came up on top that was going to be two. But they let him wrestle, and Farr elevated and put him to his back. So if they were going to give two, they should have given it earlier. I guess it ended the way maybe it should have. So
these refs are getting some heat this year already. Every topic of conversation I get with somebody, they always go right to the refs. Like, have you seen some of the refs this year? But I feel like that's every year. You're going to get it.
Yeah. They're always half wrong.
Yeah. So Gabe Dean moves on to the semis, and he will wrestle Taylor Meeks. He is just a workhorse. I would not want to see him in a dark alley. He beat Dominic Abinator.
Got it.
Yeah. This says 4-3 sudden victory. I don't think it was 4-3. I think he just beat him. I'm almost positive. I mean, I watched the match and I was just kept thinking how afraid of Taylor Meeks I was. But so he'll wrestle Gabe Dean in the semis. That's on one side, and Stouffer and Zilmer on the other side. And one thing I want to talk about is the Kenny Courts versus Scheffel match.
Yes, I watched it.
Yeah. What do you think?
No way.
Tom Ryan was arguing, and that's why you would see Kenny Courts in the semis if he would have won, but
Maybe.
I think
but yeah, I mean that I don't think there's any way I give two there. North-south position. And if they're just sitting there, so Courts didn't scramble, and then he just gave two. It was the same position.
Right. Okay, so we're on the same page. I just wanted to make sure because my mind was blown because if they kept the camera on Tom Ryan the whole time, and he kept saying, "Give me a warning, give me a warning." So I was like, I don't get it, but
yeah, I wouldn't call two there.
Okay, good. Just wanted to check with you. We're on the same page. That's good. So Zilmer and Stouffer, how do you say it?
I'm going Stauffer.
Okay, cool. Who do you got on this one?
I'm going Stauffer.
Okay.
He looked tough. He just beat Ofer Bernstein in a good match, returning
Yep.
All-American. All-American. He's been good so far this year. I think his only loss is to Kenny Courts, and it was in overtime. So yeah, I like him to win that one.
Okay.
Although
Nice.
Silmer, I think is undefeated still. I might be wrong there.
We'll have to check that
Yes.
for the review.
Yeah, I got to review it.
All right.
Oh, who you got on the top? Dean or Meeks?
I got Dean.
Do you?
I think he's too good in those close matches. I think it'll be a really close match, 1-2 point match, and I think he'll squeak it out, but it'll definitely be a tough one.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. I have no information on how Taylor Meeks' weight's doing, but he's coming down from 97.
Yeah.
Second weigh in. So I don't think that plays to his advantage, unless maybe it's not a problem for him, but I would have to imagine if you've been wrestling at 97 the past couple of years and you cut down to 84, holding it for a day, that second day, that first after the weigh-in will be tough.
Yeah, that's a great point. We'll have to keep an eye on the Dardanes too tomorrow, because same thing with them.
Carter too, first time down.
Oh, correct. Yeah. So we have a lot to look out for tomorrow. Let's move on to 197. I think this is going to be one of the best semifinals that you're going to see. So Scott Schiller looks absolutely dominant in his quarterfinal. So he beats Trent Noon 10-1, and he'll wrestle Jace Bennett on the top side. On the bottom side is the very anticipated Kyle Snyder versus Kyvan Gatson. Gatson returning All-American. This is going to be, I think, Kyle Snyder's first real test. I mean, he wrestled Phil
Wellington.
And he just, first period, Wellington came out, got a takedown early, and then it was all Snyder from there. So I think, other than that, he hasn't really had too much of a test.
Well, he's had Huntley. He's had, he just beat Luke Sheridan. And he's had the hot kid for Virginia Tech, who's pretty tough.
Yeah.
And maybe
that's who Kyvan Gatson just beat.
Yes, 8-3.
Yeah.
And Snyder beat him like 8-5, something like that. Not that that's indicative of anything, but if anything, it's good for Hot. I think he's tough. But he hasn't been tested like he will be tomorrow for sure. And I don't know how it plays out. I really don't. I think if I'm picking one, I'm picking Kyvan Gatson, because his dad.
I was gonna.
his father, the late Willie Gatson, was the former head coach at Eastern Michigan. I'll pick Kyvan Gatson.
Okay.
Not for that reason. I think he's really good.
I do too. I was impressed with him. I watched him wrestle at Michigan State a couple weeks ago. So.
But it should be a great match, and I wouldn't be surprised one bit if Kyle Snyder wins it.
And Bennett and Schiller, who do you got on the top half?
Schiller,
okay.
not particular, maybe close. I don't know. Tough to say. But this is what we were talking about earlier. Max Huntley doesn't clear skin checks, or whatever, isn't in. But he was the original 4 seed,
yes.
And they didn't change the brackets afterwards. So Jace Bennett hasn't beaten a ranked or a seeded guy yet. He's in the semis. Maybe he still gets there with Huntley there. But if you're going to take a seeded guy out, move everyone up. Move Bennett to 4, Sheridan to 5.
I wish I could take it. This would be a perfect opportunity. This is what I have to look into. How do we do this on the podcast? Is to take a screenshot of the screen, because if you're looking at the bracket, there's no 4 seed. They didn't move anybody. They didn't even give anybody a 4 seed on the bracket. You have 5, 3, 1, 2. They just skipped 4.
Yeah.
So I'll figure that out, and if I could put it in, that would be hilarious after you talk about it. Just boom.
We'll figure it out. We're getting there. It's only episode 8, 7.
This is 7. Yep.
Oh, we got to get that down.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. All right, so we got Schiller and Gatson meeting in the finals.
That's what I got. Yep.
Yep. All right. I'll go with it too. I'm too scared of Kyle Snyder this early in the season. And so let's move on to the big guys. Gwizdowski, returning national champion. He ends up winning in the quarters, and he'll wrestle Stolfi. Stolfi knocked off Tavanello of Ohio State. So it'll be Stolfi and Gwizdowski on the top half, and on the bottom half, Ty Walls versus Adam Kuhn. Didn't Adam Kuhn beat Gwizdowski last year at Vegas?
In the semis, yep.
Okay.
Right? Or was it the finals? I gotta figure that out. I thought he beat JT Felix. No, I think he did beat Gwizdowski in the finals. But yeah, he beat him in overtime. Either way.
Okay. So Ty Walls, Adam Kuhn. I think that's going to be a good match.
Cadet Freestyle Nationals rematch from like 2010 or something. 09 maybe.
Only you would remember the heavyweights.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, so on the top half, you got Stolfi and Gwizdowski. Who are you going there?
Gwizdowski. Stolfi's tough,
Right.
pins a lot of guys. Gwizdowski's too much.
Okay. And Ty Walls and Adam Kuhn. I think this is going to be a good match. I'm actually excited to watch this one.
I think so too. Kuhn struggles with those shorter guys, like the more athletic guys. You look at his losses last year. He lost to Gingrich, who's an athletic guy, McClure, who's an athletic guy, Jeremy Johnson, who's really athletic, and Tavanello, who's shorter, kind of like Walls.
Yeah.
So I think Walls might give him some problems, but I think Kuhn will figure it out. I think he'll be fine. He's got 3 pins. He's killing guys in the tournament.
Yeah.
So
he looked.
That's it, but Walls might be able to frustrate him a little bit.
He looked great on his feet for a heavyweight at the Eastern Michigan duels. I was really impressed with him on his feet.
Yeah.
Last year, I think that's what he was. I mean, at the beginning of the year, he was just. He wasn't afraid to shoot. He just continued to go out there and wrestle. And then halfway through the season, once McClure knocked him off, I think it kind of got in his head. I think if he would have beat McClure when Michigan State wrestled Michigan, he would have had a totally different season. I think it just got in his head. But, all right, so we got Kuhn and Walls. You're going with Kuhn?
I got Kuhn, yep.
All right, and Gwizdowski on the top. So Gwizdowski and Kuhn in the heavyweight finals. Anything else you want to touch on before we let you go?
For the upper weights, I think that's it. Looking forward to some good action tomorrow.
All right.
And, we'll see how this thing plays out. I mean, all these semis matches are great, so should be a lot to watch for.
All right, and we'd love to have you back on Sunday or Monday to go over the tournament if you have some extra time.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, sounds good. So that's been it for episode number 7. For JJ Johnson, I've been Eric Kolonowski. Thanks for checking out the Associated Wrestling Press's College Wrestling Review. You can follow Wrestling Press on Twitter. Make sure you do that at Wrestling Press. And if you have any questions or comments, please email me at collegewrestlingreview@gmail.com, and I'll answer anything you have. Thanks for watching. And here we are, continuing episode number 7 of the Associated Wrestling Press's College Wrestling Review. And we'd like to I would like to wrestle you, but we'd like to welcome former Cleveland State wrestler Court Layer. Court, thanks for being on the show.
Hey, no problem, Eric. Always a pleasure.
Now, when I saw that Cleveland State was going to be wrestling Edinburgh, the first person I thought about getting on the show was you. You being one of my friends, being a former Cleveland State wrestler, I figured, hey, let's get him on the show. He's a big fan of wrestling, still is really involved with wrestling. So, were you able to catch the match?
Yeah, I caught it. I watched it on Flow Wrestling. It was a tough duel. The score says 41-3. I saw some great matches though. I saw some EWL championship previews, some battles. There's going to be some guys wrestling 4 spots at nationals that were in that duel last night. There's a couple matches that stand out, and really, quite frankly, Cleveland State didn't have 2 starters. And not saying it's going to make a huge difference, but just kind of the swagger of the match that makes a difference. So
yeah, absolutely. And one match that I was really looking forward to would be, as a lightweight myself, would be the Ben Williford versus Corey Mines. They're, depending on which rankings you look at, I mean anywhere from 24 to 20 to 19, 18. They're always pretty much back to back, but they're right with each other. So I would say if you were looking for the most evenly matched up match, it would have had to be this one, and it was an exciting match. How'd you feel about it?
Yeah, it was a great match. I thought they went 1-1 into the third, or 1-0, Williford into the third. He rode him for a little bit. Mines escaped, got him with a solid double, went through a little scramble. Williford came for a big toss, ended up giving up two. They reviewed it. Williford escaped at the end, but couldn't get the takedown to tie. I thought Mines looked tough. He looked a little more standoffish. Williford really pushes the pace. I mean, he's beat him twice before. He stole a spot to nationals in 2012, beat Mines in the EWL championships. All right, pinned him with a lat drop. In that same year, in the duel, he caught him in a lat drop for 5 points. And hey, he went for the throw again last night. So, I mean, he goes after it. I like Ben. I think he's a guy that, hey, he's going to steal a spot and he's going to be up there. I don't know if he's All-American good, but he's 2-2, 3-2 type of good. You never know. So.
Right, and that's all you need. I mean, I hate that. That's the thing, is you always think that there's one kid that, well, for example, Earl Hall last year. No, the only person that thought Earl Hall was good All-American last year would have been Earl Hall. Going into the national tournament, I think he had like a 23-15 record. You usually don't see that. There's always one kid. Do you think that Williford could be that kid to kind of All-American here or there, win a match?
Yeah, I think he has an advantage. He's a small 125-pounder weight-wise, but he's jacked. I mean, that dude put some work in the weight room, and he has a motor. And when you get to that NCAA tournament, it's about heart, and he has one of the biggest hearts. I mean, he's from Louisiana, 3-timer, came up to Cleveland State, and he just put in the work. He goes to Eric Burnett, works out with the Steebers, Tomasello and him, watch them battle way back in the day. Hey, he's a workhorse, but you know, Mines is a guy, he's underrated too. At the same time, hey, he's hit or miss. He's an Ohio State champ, and I think he can come with it too. I don't know if they're All-American good. We'll have to see as the season, but hey, Williford does have a win over Cruz from Lehigh this year. Gave it to him in the first round of an Open. He's on that next level. It just matters what he comes with come March. So
well, let's not waste all our time that we have here on the 125-pound match. Let's move on. Number one, AJ Shop comes out, does what he needs to do, gets the fall. Mitchell Port also comes out, gets a tech fall, so you get big bonus points there. That's where you really win the duels, is with these. And what did you call them earlier?
I called them Murderers Row.
Murderers
because if
Row,
they're hot, man, you see them. I mean, yeah, we look at Penn State last year. It's kind of the same situation, maybe not as powerful, but hey, Shop, his Twitter handle is Gold Shop, and it kind of speaks for itself. He's out on a mission. That weight class, hey, it's up in the air, but I think he's the front runner. And then Mitchell Port, I mean, he has to be hungry after we talk about the All-Star match, not getting Steber. I think he's going to come with it. Last year he came back and got third, showed a lot of heart. So I like both those guys. They're hammers on top.
And don't forget, you go 1 with AJ Shop, 2 with Mitchell Port, and then Habit's all right. He's only 4. What 3 wrestlers in a row are you going to find 1, 2, and 4?
Yeah, exactly. And Habit's a goofy dude. He's flexible. I've never seen anyone. He's kind of built like, I mean, he's short and stocky, but he's flexible and he funks, and
yeah, he's really
he's dangerous. Yeah, and there's gonna be matches that are close that, hey, you don't think are gonna be close, but at the same time he might score big. Guy likes Turks, guys like to scramble. Hey, I could see him being a semi-final type of guy, but really top 6 for sure. But hey, those 3 right there, that's why Edinburgh is a powerful tournament team. Right there, there's 3 out of automatic All-Americans in my eyes. Yeah. All right, now you put together Mines, a couple other guys in there. So tough tournament team.
So we had AJ Shop with the fall, you had Port with the tech fall, you had Habit with the tech fall, and then you had Burnett Davis with the tech fall. So they're already up 24-0 right there. The duel's over, and then you move on to 165, Fuller and Donahoe. This was kind of toss-up.
This was a great match. Donahoe was 3rd in the EWL last year, had a couple quality wins. He beat Hightower. He beat Kremer for 3rd and 4th. Kremer actually got a spot, a wild card with the 4. Donahoe got left out. I thought he should have got after that quality win, but hey, he had to have the upper hand. So, and Casey Fuller's a guy, he redshirted last year. He's just a tough guy, kind of a motor. Came out there, pushed the pace, but Donahoe, end of the first period, nice high crotch, drags his toes out of bounds. I don't know, no video review, but Man, I thought he had two that kind of changes the face of the match. Donahoe got an early reversal, really looking good on top. Fuller went down in the third, got away, ended up getting a takedown. I know he got a reversal and got some back points. And hey, once you give up back points in a college match, it's tough to rally in the third period. So I think that's going to be a match. Hey, you could see that could be the spot to nationals, third and fourth type match in the EWL. Hey, maybe even a finals. They both got upset potential. So.
That's good. So Fuller wins that by 8-2, takes Edinburgh to 27-0. Tech fall by Towers over Starks at 174. A fall by Vic Avery steps in, doing great things. I'm looking. He could be dangerous. I would keep my eye on him at the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
So
Dude, he's
after
tough.
84, they led 38-0. Really, the only competitive match after that would have had to been heavyweight, but that's where you expect Cleveland State's only ranked guy, Shaw, comes in. Crazy
Riley's-
heavyweight match.
Yeah, Riley, he beat their starter in the Clarion Open. He won the Clarion Open. He's a guy, two-time state champ out of Ohio. Made it to nationals as a true freshman last year. Got third in the EWL. Got left out. Comes out there. Next thing you know, he's on his back. He's down 7-2 after the first. And the thing about Riley is he only goes about 225. He moves, though. He's tall, slender. Started getting to his underhooks. Next thing you know, he rallied back, got his riding time, pulls off a 12-10 against a way smaller opponent. But it was one of those things. Hey, Riley showed some heart. I watched his interview. Kid has it together. He's going to be a guy. I could even see, hey, round to 12, maybe as a senior, getting that AA status. But he's a tough kid, so great wrestler.
Perfect. So that took the final score. Cleveland State got on the board. 41 points put up by Edinburgh, just too much. So 41-3 was the final score. Hey, Court, tremendous guest. Thank you so much for being on. Please, if you have any more, I know you're diehard wrestling fan, so if you have any insight, you ever want to come back on the show, please do it. Is there anybody that I know you work with a lot of younger kids. You do it for the kids. Is there anything that anybody out there that you want to just say hey to or give a shout out?
Yeah,
to?
I gotta go back to my roots. Holt High School and my club, Holt Elite Wrestling. We got a great club over there. Tons of great kids. Some future champs, some college wrestlers in the making for sure. So thanks, Eric, again, and pleasure being on the show.
Yeah, no problem. And that's been Court Layer. And that's going to do it for episode number 7 of the Associated Wrestling Press's College Wrestling Review. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, EZE_shownuff. Also follow Holt Elite, at Holt Elite. And you can also follow the Wrestling Press, which is the Associated Wrestling Press's Twitter handle. Make sure you do that. Check out the updated rankings by JJ Johnson. And thank you for listening. That's been it for episode number 7.